Mid-sized trucks have been in a weird state the last few years, and what I mean is they've both been innovative and lacking behind the entire time. And this is a truck that settles all of that. This is the Nissan Frontier. So the vehicle in today's video is this Nissan Frontier, and the Nissan Frontier is freshly redesigned as of 2022, and it competes with vehicles like the Toyota Tacoma, the Ford Ranger, the Chevy Colorado, the GMC Canyon, all of those mid-sized trucks. And this is the last one to have a V6 still in it, with the exception of the Jeep Gladiator. Now, this truck is Nissan's off-road offering. This is the Pro X. Now, this is not the Pro 4X, which is normally four-wheel drive. This is the Pro X we have here. So now that we know what this vehicle competes with, let's talk about what makes this truck uniquely different from those other vehicles. See, Nissan, being a Japanese brand, has been building extremely reliable vehicles for tons of years here in the US. They originally started as Datsun and started with the hard-body Nissan Frontier. And now the Frontier is in its fourth generation here in the United States, and it has been out for a very long time before that. See, the last body style came out in 2005 and only had minor improvements over that whole time frame, and was, like I said, this one came out in 2022. So that tells you there's 16 years of continual sales of that same exact body style. Now, this one is a major improvement. If you remember the old Frontier, this one is entirely different all the way around. Starting off with the front end, this one has full LED headlights as well as LED fog lights. We've also got a orange Nissan badge on this off-road trim. However, there is a new white one that's available on the S and SV. This one is also equipped with the radar cruise control down below. And being that this is the Pro X, you do get a stylistically different front bumper with some orange tow hooks down here. I really do like the front presence of this vehicle. Some people will call it the Wish version of the Toyota Tacoma, because it does kind of bring a lot of the stylistic cues into this vehicle. For example, the lack of like a metal bumper. If you look at the old Frontier, it had a genuine bumper down at the bottom, and this version here has a plastic bumper. So a big difference when you're talking about the front end styling, but it definitely makes a big difference in the curb appeal of this truck. And I think this is a much more suitable, much more capable and luxurious and muscular looking truck. The old one was very, very bland, looked a lot like a work truck. This one definitely goes to that next level. Well, now we know what the Nissan Frontier is, what it competes with, and how it's kind of styled, but what do you guys think from the side view of the vehicle? It's definitely a nice size, mid-sized truck. It is interesting to me that they didn't do the little spoiler trend that it seems like every single brand is doing now. And so for that, I don't know. It still sticks back with that old school, I think, like the rest of this vehicle does, but it also looks like a truck in the same exact notion. Now, I really want to say these taillights here look exactly like F-150 taillights. They're definitely styled after them, but they definitely look good as well. It's a good design to steal. So now we know what the Nissan Frontier is and what it competes with, but now I want to talk to you about the overall side and road presence of this vehicle. Now, this vehicle, this is the crew cab. You can get an extended cab, or what they call the king cab in Nissan speak, but this crew cab is probably going to be the preferred one. You can actually get two bed lengths with this. So you can get this, the 5-foot bed, or a longer 6-foot bed, but you do have to go down to the SV trim level. Now, as far as trim levels go, there is the S, which is the basic work truck. It's going to come with steel 16-inch wheels, but it still comes with that great 3.8-liter V6. Now, when you go to the SV, you start to see some value features added, things like alloy wheels, power seats, some more safety features, and then you have the SL, which is the luxury version of this truck. Now, that is going to be with leather, heated seats, all of the safety tech, and everything else that comes with a luxury truck. Now, this is the Pro X, which is similar to a Desert Runner. It is a two-wheel drive off-road inspired truck. There's also the Pro 4X, which is the full off-road capable spec version of this truck. There is no extreme off-road level like what we see in the TRD Pro or the ZR2 Bison, but we do expect a lot of off-road Nismo components to be added to the parts catalog here in the next few years. Well, naturally, this is a truck, so we need to make sure that it can do truck things. So when we're talking about truck things, that means hauling and towing. The maximum payload on this truck that you can get is 1,850 pounds. Now, that is, of course, a two-wheel drive King Cab S version. The majority of them are going to be spec'd like this one is, which ranges between 1,300 and 900 pounds of payload, of course, depending on four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, and the options that you option on your individual truck. One interesting thing I would like to note back here is that the tailgate is actually a manual lock. It is an option for a power lock. It's $350. Nissan, you should probably just make that standard and quit making us all guess. This one is equipped with a plastic bed liner. However, there is also a spray-in and no bed liner option, depending on what you get. There is a bed utility group that I would recommend that you get. It does come with a 400-watt bed plug, LED lights, and the Utili-Rail system with all the different tie downs. This truck is not equipped with it. It's just a bed liner, but it is still usable. All of the trucks are going to get a damped tailgate, so no slamming tailgate on you, and they are rated to tow a maximum of 6,750 pounds. However, most of them, because of those options, are going to be rated slightly lower. This one's 6,400 pounds. We do have a very convenient step right here on the rear bumper. I also like that it is a 3-piece bumper, which means if you damage just the corner, you only have to replace that corner. No need to do the whole bumper like in a lot of other vehicles. We do, of course, have a 4- and 7-pin connector back here, as well as some LED license plate lights and these really beautiful tail lights, which I like a lot. Now, I made a short recently that mentioned that these are expensive to replace and that they include a blind spot monitor, and somebody went down in the comments and said, actually, the blind spot monitor is down here in the bumper, so my apologies, but this is still an expensive light to replace should you crack it. So definitely something to keep in mind with all of the technology and everything in vehicles. Sometimes newer isn't always better, and I think just having a couple dollar bulb in there would be a lot better than paying a couple $100 for a whole LED panel. Now, talking about the wheels and tires on this truck, it's not a super interesting conversation because they're pretty basic wheel and tire. This one being the off-road truck, you're going to get a 17-inch rim, and actually that's not the case. Every single one of these trucks gets a 17-inch rim, no matter how you option it. I believe there is maybe a 20-inch option on the SL. Go check the build and price tool for more details. But this is a Dynapro AT2 off-road tire. It's got pretty good all-terrain tread, as well as this really cool styled two-tone wheel with the new orange Nissan logo right in the middle. So definitely some decent wheels and tires on here. Great for off-roading, tons of sidewall. I do know that there is a couple suspension lifts you can get for this truck. Z1 Off-Road seems to be capitalizing on these vehicles as far as off-road items. You can do a whole Titan front end suspension swap, or you can do a just a regular lift with different control arms and everything. This truck, being the Pro X, does not have a lift, but the Pro 4X will go up 1 inch over the standard ride height to give you that off-road capability. It also comes with a rear locker on the back to lock those rear tires together to give you some more capability. And one of the things I love about Nissan talking about this type of vehicle, and specifically what they've done to make this old school tried and true reliability, is that this has a 2-speed transfer case when you get it in every 4-wheel drive configuration. No 1-speed all-wheel drive transfer case kind of thing like GM has been doing in their trucks. So definitely a prop to Nissan. On top of that, all of these are built in Canton, Mississippi. Their factory recently celebrated 5 million vehicles produced since 1997, which is a really big achievement. So congratulations to them on 5 million vehicles. So here we are in the back seat of the Nissan Frontier, and my goodness, am I happy to not be outside anymore. I want you guys to know that I'm dedicated to bringing you content, which is exactly why we're out here in the rain today, making sure that you get at least one video a day. Now in this back seat, it's a very pleasant place. We do have soft touch on the elbow, so you have a nice spot to rest. There is a nice big cup holder in each of these doors, which I would definitely commend Nissan for doing. A lot of brands are skimping on that. One of the first places companies cheap out is storage, and I absolutely hate it. And there is a small example of that here. There is no pocket on the front of this back seat. There is one on the passenger side. We do have a USB-C and a USB-A. With that bed utility package, not only do you get the 400-watt plug in the bed, but you also get it in here. So once again, definitely would recommend getting that. We do have a flip-down armrest with 2 cup holders. Interesting note, if you get the S, you do not get a flip-down armrest, and these seats actually do flip up. You have to pull the lever on the end. It pops up. We have these plastic panels. They do pop out, of course, and then pull the lever to drop it back down. And there also is a flip forward on these seats. When you pull this corner, it flips a little bit forward. It's actually on this seat. Flips forward, and you can store a few things behind the driver's side seat, which is extremely convenient. And while we're back here, I did want to quickly note, while this is, yes, a great automotive YouTube channel that you guys get to enjoy, I also do sell vehicles to pay the bills. So next time you're looking for your next vehicle, make sure to give me a call or text down in the description below. Let's go head up to the front seats next. And now we are here in the front seats of the Nissan Frontier, and this is an extremely comfortable space. One of the things I did want to quickly note is we have a power seat with manual lumbar, but the steering column is only horizontally adjustable and not telescoping. So this is the only position you can really have it in as far as distance goes. So you got to dial that seat in kind of a weird way. But one of the good notes about this truck is that the floor is far enough away from the seat that you don't get that cramped go-kart feeling like you do in some other mid-size trucks, i.e. the Tacoma. Now there is a new body style of the Tacoma coming for 2024. However, it hasn't hit any dealership lots yet. When it does, I'll be sure to get a video of it. But for the meantime, this seating position is way better. Now looking at the controls over on the left here, we do have our power mirrors, our power windows. There is a window lockout for the kiddos, a tow mode button over here, as well as our interior light controls. We've got our button here for our Safety Shield 360 to quickly turn it on and off, as well as cargo light button and traction control. This does have a manual parking brake lever, no electronic parking brake. On the steering wheel itself, we've got this gloss black plastic with a orange Nissan logo in the middle and buttons for the volume and cruise control on both sides. This is equipped with the adaptive cruise control. We do have our headlights and fog light controls over on this other stock, as well as our turn signals and high beams, and then our wipers on the other stock. We do have a nice drawer up here on top of the dash, as well as a nice 9-inch display with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as AM, FM, Bluetooth, and satellite radio. Below that display, and by the way, speaking of this display, I like where it's at mounted in the dash. I also like that it has a volume and tuning knob, as well as a row of physical buttons. It's so nice to see manufacturers still putting buttons in interiors, because I hate when everything's buried into a screen. You do have a quick button for the auto start stop, and fun fact for you, you actually need a different high voltage battery if your vehicle is equipped with the auto start stop starter, as opposed to not. For example, I have a 2022 two-wheel drive, and for whatever reason, mine is not equipped with auto start stop, and this one here is. The hazards right in the middle, as well as a light for your passenger airbag. We do have dual zone climate down here, which is extraordinarily nice. Super easy to use. You can look at it, read it, understand it. Very simple. And then a USB-C and USB-A that you can plug into for your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as a quick button, big nice physical button for the parking sensors on the rear if you wanted to quickly turn those off, which is super handy. Nice big storage area here, 2 cup holders, our shifter for our 9-speed. I love that it is a physical shifter that goes into gear very tactilely. I just love the sound of it. And then another area here for a phone or wallet or whatever else you can have. There is a wireless charger available that can be put in here, and then a lift-up armrest. There is a 12-volt when you get certain packages. This one's not equipped with a 12-volt. This is just a storage cubby. But there is a pen holder / marker holder right up on the top shelf here. And then there is orange stitching all the way around. And this is a nice kind of vinyl rubbery material, which just makes it feel that much more durable. Speaking up top, we do have nice visors here with lights. They do pull out, they do slide, which is extremely handy. And then, of course, we do have a sunglass holder right up here, as well as our interior light controls, which we can adjust with. And this one has the LED upgrade. There are halogen standard and then a regular dimming mirror. So that's everything on the inside of the Nissan Frontier. Let's go under the hood and check out the engine next. So here we are underneath the hood of the Nissan Frontier, and this is where we find the 3.8-liter direct injected, naturally aspirated 310 horsepower VQ V6. Now, this is actually a specific motor for this specific truck, which is something new for Nissan. They typically don't give vehicles a purpose-built engine. They typically use a series of engines. Like, for example, the 3.5-liter VQ is put into everything from cars to trucks to SUVs to minivans. And this motor is specifically built for this motor, which gives it an interesting torque dynamic. It actually makes 181 pound-feet of torque, but it comes in fairly early and feels really powerful. And with that 9-speed transmission, it's a ZF 9-speed, but it's actually manufactured by Nissan, aka Jatco. But it's a very good transmission. It's smooth. It shifts very smoothly. It goes around town great. You actually get surprisingly good fuel economy with it. If you hypermile this thing with the AC off, you can get like 30 miles to the gallon. It is absolutely insane. Now, one of the interesting notes under here, I praised them earlier about the transfer case being a 2-speed. I'm also going to praise them about this V6 because while a lot of other manufacturers, in fact, almost all manufacturers, with the exception of the Gladiator right now, are going to a turbo 4-cylinder, they still stick with the old school V6, and it makes a ton of power. Seems to be more reliable, at least from a moving parts perspective. But with that, they've also left a hydraulic power steering, which means this vehicle is not able to get the lane keeping assist, which Nissan does have a very good lane keeping assist inside of their portfolio, but you can't get it on this vehicle because the steering rack is not electronically assisted, something I probably would have changed, or at least hoped Nissan would change in the future. But with that, this is a pretty good powertrain. Like I said, should be very reliable. As far as maintenance items go, most of them are very exposed. You've got your wiper fluid, your low pressure coolant, your power steering fluid, your battery, your high pressure coolant, which is the top of the radiator, your oil fill, your dipstick, your air box, a little fuse box here, and your brake fluid. So everything's out in the open, easily able to be gotten to. And as far as the headlights go, you can actually change the bulbs really easily. In fact, on the base trucks, I recommend that you do because they come standard with a crappy halogen light. But what I did was I just bought the $50 last fit LED headlight upgrade for my truck. Made a huge difference for driving at night. I also upgraded my fog lights and my daytime running lights. I recommend you do the same if you have that same type of truck. Well, guys, this has been my review on the Nissan Frontier. I hope you've enjoyed it. And how do you guys feel about this truck now that you know a little bit more about it? Make sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll be sure to get back to you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell so that you get notified when I come out with a new video, because we are planning on ramping up content production as well as making higher quality, better quality videos for you guys. Hopefully you're grateful. If you are, please let me know down in the comments. It's so good to see positive comments instead of negative comments. However, there are definitely a higher number of negative comments than positive ones. So if you are enjoying it, please just let us know. Also, feel free to support the channel by checking us out on Twitter as well as Facebook, and we're also on Instagram. We also have a Patreon page as well. Now, for those of you that have stayed this long, you already know what time it is. It is Late Video Lighting Nerds. Let's get started with it. This is our candid style headlight check and tail light check on the vehicle to see exactly what the low beams and high beams look like. And we do need to start the vehicle to get this to work. Turn the headlights to on. Perfect. And fun fact for those of you that don't know, so legally, fog lights can only be on with the low beams. And it is a federal law that when these high beams turn on, it has to be wired in a way that these lower lights turn off. And there's your high beams for you, you late video lighting nerds. And our tail lights, they look good. They are LED, definitely. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support. I hope you have an amazing day.